Welcome to a beautiful shot of Dino Park as we hop into game number 2 of the PUBG Reddit King of the Hill tournament. Remember, only one blue zone, and it will be moving on to the final circle, which is the only circle that's going to appear in this game. And if you set foot inside the blue zone, you die in 1 second, so you really don't want to be caught out by the blue. This is game number 2 of 4. I believe we are on third person on the North American server. And you might be wondering, why are you swapping it out? Because this is the PUBG Reddit community. We have thousands of players from all over the globe. And we basically take votes each week on which custom games to play. We play, by the way, twice a week. We try 3 times a week as well when we can. Looks like Katie's still on the plane and didn't quite get the memo. There we go. Most of our players, I think, come from the EU or NA regions. So we have split our games between third and first person, and we also have our games on both the North America server and the EU server, so that everybody effectively gets a go. So this is game number 2. We can see Boomer and Co. Drive Like Dan seem to be the only team who have dropped on the east side of the river. Oh, I beg your pardon. Team 10, the Potato Club, are down there as well, really at the bottom tip. A lot of players going in and around Goroka. In between Goroka and Dino Park, there must be no fewer than 7 teams here. So this is going to be a lot of fun. Goroka seems to be contested by 2 teams as well. Now, guys, remember, with the exception of the circle settings, this is basically a normal game. So it's important to note, you know, there are all the guns available. You can just end up getting squad wiped very early on, obviously something that these guys want to avoid. This is team number 9, the Randoms, and team number 11, EU Talent, both landing in Goroka. And this is a little bit of a high-stakes game now of cat and mouse early on as everyone is scrambling to grab weapons. This is the Picardo of Vikendi, at least today it is anyway. It's not Castle. This is the Pachinki, and we see TJ23 moving into the same house where Ash the Idiot is, and Ash already has a shotgun in tow, so this is going to be particularly interesting. Third person pump action. I think TJ is going to get the heck out of Dodge. Would not blame him at all. He's running outside. Does he actually have any backup right now? He's looking into the window, looking for an opportunity to get that shot off. Ash could actually move into the next room if he wanted to, and TJ is trying to line up a shot. Where's the rest of his team, though? I don't think he can sustain staying here. Oh. And Ash is just going to close the door. A little bit too high risk, maybe, because he doesn't know how many people he's dealing with outside. Yes, there's one person with a pistol, and the shotgun should be able to beat that. But he's got no clue how many people are behind him. Flashbang going in as TJ moves in. Rainbow Six style. Oh, he tries to make it outside the door and doesn't. And he gets taken for 78 damage. Ash the Idiot, currently on about 40%, goes back to close the door and says, no, you don't. TJ going up for a round 3 by the looks of things. And of course, all this time, these players are continuing to loot up. So Ash is now running to rejoin the rest of his squad. It looks like TJ, while I don't think he won the gunfight, certainly won the larger battle, as Ash suspected there were multiple people heading his way. So that's team number 9, the Randoms, versus team 11, EU Talent. This fight is going to rage on for a little while as the rest of them try and loot Goroka. Now, team number 3, seriously why? The first team to basically die in game number 1. No way to sugarcoat that, really. These guys are landing Zabava. Now, this is interesting because they are the only team this far north on the map right now, and I think this could actually be quite good for them. J-Kiki getting a Bison early on. Remember, they actually did all right looting up in the last game as well. It's when they were rotating through and were slightly unfortunate in their choice of path, running through about 4 different teams, if I remember correctly, in their vehicle. That's kind of where their whole game plan fell apart. So it's quite likely that we might see a little bit more walking from them in this game. Double lump action coming in from Knight. Nacht. However you want to pronounce it, I'm going to go with Knight. A lot of SMGs, of course, here on Vikendi. A lot of King of the Hills have been played in PUBG Customs before, but predominantly on Erangel. So we don't play on Vikendi that often. Obviously, it's a new map as well, but we will be playing on it increasingly often. And if you want to play as well, by the way, you can get involved. If you go to discord.gg/PUBG Reddit, you should be able to join the PUBG Reddit Discord server. Now, it's a server representing literally hundreds of thousands of people, right? So bear in mind, it's pretty big, but there is a custom games channel. And if you go into the custom games channel and you opt in there, you'll see the button. It's fairly obvious. You'll then get notified when we run custom games. And we run custom games at least twice a week. We try and run them 3 times a week as well. And they're just open for anyone to come and play. Like, we're here to have a good time. Oh, and the one drop that shows up before the circle location is known literally goes right on top of PP Team, who were camping out in the circle in game number 1. So this is going to be useful. Oh, the circle has been revealed. We say, look here, there we go. It's near Lumberyard. So it's in between Cement Factory and Lumberyard. And oh, wow. That is very interesting indeed. So guys, the circle is on top of a mountain. This is brutal in terms of landscape. So the team that holds the top of this mountain, which has some cover, but really not that much, to be honest. It's very difficult to be covered from all directions here. This is going to be insane. So everyone is going to have to make their way onto this mountain at the end of the game, unless by some miracle, all teams but one die before they get in. This is not going to be fun for a lot of teams. Now, Team 7, last game, PP Team, opted to go straight into the final circle, but that's because there was a compound there for them to defend. I wonder if they're going to employ a different strategy this time around, as we see a little bit of looting coming in here. No, they're getting straight into a vehicle, so it looks like they're going to grab that crate weapon. We didn't quite see what it is, but we will see in due course, so don't worry about it. And they are going to be driving straight away. And now the question is, are they going to the mountain? Remember, if they go straight to the mountain, they will have nothing to loot except for the crates that drop there. Now, as you guys know, in PUBG, the mechanics are as follows. The crates only drop in circles. So if they only drop in circles, and the circle is known and is that tiny that early on, guess what's going to happen? That's right, all of the crates end up dropping in this small circle, and that is why it is so valuable. Team number 10, though, the Potato Club, are technically first to be moving into the circle, arguably doing a bit of potato driving as well, but they're struggling to be fair, they're struggling to find a way up. It's difficult to find the most accurate way up around this mountain. I suspect they won't end up killing themselves in the process, but it certainly looks like they're going to have to continue the journey on foot, and indeed they do. So they're trying the same strategy that PP Team did in game number 1. Now, if you're watching this game on VOD, don't worry, you don't need to go and rewind and hit game number 1. You had a little bit of a technical issue then. So we're actually starting with this game, so you are watching the right video. So just continue watching and we'll be getting you the scoreboard at the end of this one. But in the previous game, PP Team opted to grab the compound in the center of the circle. This time, though, the circle is going to be on top of a mountain, and it looks like Potato Club are the ones that will try and grab that first. And the idea, of course, is that they can get ownership of all of the crates that might pop by. Now, here comes Squad 7, so PP Team. Finn and Coldy leading the charge with Donzel and Mr. Nobody behind them. They've got a crate weapon in tow, and I do believe that is an AWM on the back of Finn, PP Finn. Tasty, tasty weapon. Oh, and they spot people on top of the mountain. First shot getting whiffed, unfortunately, although he didn't miss by much at all, as these guys look to think of ways to contest. So another team has beaten them to the punch this time. How are they going to respond? Looks like we're setting ourselves up for a sniper battle. Even if someone gets their helmet knocked clean off with a headshot right now, it's going to take a little while for PP Team to push in if they get the first down on Potato Club. So this fight could drag out for a bit. So let's... Oh! And by drag out for a bit, I mean Lazio is already down to less than half health, and make that the rest of it as well, as Coldy finishes off the first down. Now, are they going to take this opportunity to push? They are, but it's a very, very long way, because they actually have to get up the side of the hill as well. Very difficult for them to get themselves in a pushable position, especially because you can peer over the side of the mountain in third person. So Lazio is going to have enough time to get revived, and they will have the opportunity to take a full-on squad fight here. And then, well, then it just becomes a case of whether PP Team can actually win the squad fight, and they are extremely skilled. So there's every chance they can do that. Nades now coming out. Finn chucking a molly. Not quite far enough to hit Lazio just yet, though. And if they move around the left-hand side, they might actually get to see him. That is a really beautiful nade! Oh dear, Lazio getting taken down once again, and that's Coldy with the UMP as they push in. It looking like this is going to end up being a 4v3 now. Lazio looking to get finished off. That was a big hit there from Coldy again, I think, with the Car 98. Aspect is now flanked with the other of his team. On the other side of the rock. He manages to get one down. That's Cleave onto Coldy, but Donzel managing to get the return fire, and Aspect gets a headshot onto Finn. All of a sudden, it's a 3v2 situation, and Team 7 no longer look quite so strong. Donzel getting a second kill, though, bringing it down to 2v2. Frosty trying to flank around to see if he can go and help his teammate. I don't know how close he is to the rest of his team, though, and the problem is Team 7 are in positions where it's not easy for them to resurrect their teammates. So they're a little bit spread out right now, and that is the issue. Aspect making sure he is able to resist and try and get his teammate back up. Donzel maybe doing a little bit too much, not quite able to get the third kill by the looks of things, and he gets taken down. Mr. Nobody, for the third time this game, takes down Lazio, who must be bleeding out very quickly right now. Oh, I beg your pardon, that's actually a shot off onto the down to finish him off. So Aspect and Frosty are left versus Mr. Nobody. This is advantage to Potato Club. Aspect moving around the left-hand side. Mr. Nobody is almost certainly seen, or pardon me, heard rather, the footsteps. If he can see the footsteps, that's incredible, but Bloodhound isn't in this game yet, so we don't talk about that. Frosty now ducking back behind the hill. Mr. Nobody, he probably wants to get a res off, and he's able to do that on Finn. I wonder if Team 7 are going to use this as an opportunity to start pushing around. That is Aspect finishing off Coldy, and Mr. Nobody knows that he's close. Both teams, though, both players now coming in a pincer formation, and that is Team 7. PP Team are the first to be eliminated in this game. And ladies and gentlemen, they were one of the last teams to survive in the previous game. So going for the circle early on has his advantages, but at the same time, it is massively high risk, and it looks like PP Team have paid the ultimate price. And conveniently, here comes the first circle crate. So almost like a reward for Team 10 for winning that fight. Oh, it's a ghillie suit and the graza. Tasty, tasty times. I am thoroughly enjoying this. That would be my dream crate, ladies and gentlemen. I do wish, though, that the ghillie was white. I'm pretty sure the mountain they're on top of is rather predominantly covered in snow. So the green ghillie might provide limited coverage, but still better than nothing. Team 6 are nearby as well. That's the Modalorian support hat. They would have heard that fight go down, so they're going to have to be thinking about what their next plan is. If I were them, I would loot all the compounds around them and maybe loot Cement Factory as well, and then just taking up a position relatively close. Who knows? That's team number 4, you see, the Camouflage Condoms, who won game number 1. They are moving slowly further south past Peshkova. And as we look further north, almost nobody in sight, with the exception of team number 3, Seriously Why, who are no longer the team that dies first in the game. So at least they don't have to worry about that 2 games in a row. They're in vehicles, they are in and around Cosmodrome and Zabava, and it looks like they have plenty of opportunity to loot wherever the heck they want. Over in the northwest, in Krichas even, or Krikas, however I'm supposed to pronounce that, apologies. Not 100% certain. I'm going to go with Krichas for now. We have Team PUBG, who are having a relatively quiet game, but it looks like the potential big fight in Gorovka is just chilling out. It doesn't look like we've had any more particular squad wipes just yet. And you can see that's because Team 11, of course, left to go east very early on, and Team 9 was in the center of your screens. Now we're looking at the bottom half of the map. You can see Team 5 there, in sort of split between Volnova and Kantra, which is going to be interesting because they will definitely be hearing this team move by. So that's Drive Like Dan, a little bit split at the moment. In fact, Clover just sitting in a vehicle on the road with Avengers, because why the heck not? Oh, and I think they've spotted crate number 1, the one that originally popped, but I'm pretty sure that was looted because it fell almost right on top of PP Team. So, sadly, they will not be able to get that. But here comes Squad 1. Oh, they're going to drive right by. Okay, I thought they were going to pretend to be like a car spawn or something on the side of the road. They could attempt to do that. Here comes Confuzzled and Co. These are the tall Karma monkeys. They're just driving by. Be very quiet. Oh no! Pac-Man's gotten out. I think he spotted someone's in that car, and now we run away. Are they going to give chase? Oh, I think they were thinking about... No, Pac-Man was solo in the car. Was he thinking about ditching the Dasher to take that car? I'm not really sure. But either way, they're not going to be able to do that. They will be able at least to get this compound, but presumably that's been looted previously by Drive Like Dan. Max Reynolds, an absolute superstar in the first game. looking to finish a kill onto Ash the Idiot. Will get that. EU Talent once again down to 3 people early on, as the Camouflage Condoms, the victors in game number 1, look to reassert a little bit of dominance here. They are in and around Peshkova. Sergeant DMA, the last survivor of his team in the previous game, will not want a repeat of what happened there. An extremely strong team, but robbed through some unfortunate early game engagements, but it certainly provided very entertaining watching for the rest of us. Slightly further south in Peshkova, you can see here team number 4, the Camouflage Condoms, choosing to disengage and slowly move towards the circle and let these guys fight it out. With the exception of Jonesy, because he has a VSS and wants to prove a point with it by the looks of things. But unfortunately, a couple of shots later, that is not going to be possible. Sergeant DMA will be able to make his way safely in, and I think that was Grim as well, who's not on full health at the moment and taking refuge inside the church. Now, don't really think these guys are going to be full squad fighting to the death here. So I'm kind of looking at squads 5 and 1, to be honest, on the bottom side of the map. There's nobody left on the left side, well, except for one, but those guys have vehicles, and it looks like Confuzzled & Co., so that's interesting. That's, I think, team number 1, it is, the Tall Karma Monkeys, looking like they've managed to give Drive Like Dan the slip here. And they've moved beyond Hot Springs now. So Drive Like Dan being super conservative here, just looking for every angle, trying to spot where these guys were. But I'm pretty sure the Karma Monkeys are comfortably beyond their reach now. In the meantime, oh, I'm seeing a familiar strategy here with team number 6. So the Modalorian support hat are just chilling out. There's not too much they can do about that. Oh, there's definitely not too much they can do about this. Look at this Habitual Boomer sat in the vehicle there. He's actually quite close, to be fair, to the circle, but he has disconnected, so something tells me that is a crash. So we'll hope and see if he can reconnect, but if he can't, then he's just going to end up being a passenger in the hello, forevermore. And that's, sadly, going to be the look at his face as the blue zone eventually encapsulates him. We have a little bit of a fight here. Oh, no, once again. Are we going to see the team Seriously Why get caught up in transit? Jonesy with the M4 looking to pepper a vehicle with some shots. Will spot and get some shots down on the vehicle, which must be getting quite low, but doesn't actually do damage to the occupants therein. So at the moment, Seriously Why are already doing significantly better than they did in game number 1. Jonesy trying to follow up with a couple more shots. He could actually do with a booster, currently just on 75 HP. But otherwise, looking healthy. Very sneaky here from J-Kiki. Does he realize that there are members of Squad 4? The Camouflage Condoms are very close to him here. He's very split from the rest of his team. He could come up behind Jonesy and bag himself a kill or two. This is a very, very weird flank. And the rest of Team 4 are definitely moving in. The Camouflage Condoms, an extremely strong team. And if they're all looking in one direction, they can rely on J-Kiki, provided the rest of their squad don't just die first, though. Stupid shit goes down in the first engagement. Max Reynolds getting the down there. There is a teammate relatively close by. J-Kiki now popping a couple of shots off just to let the Camouflage Condoms know he's there. And maybe those shots have done enough to tell them, oh, hang on a second, guys, we might actually have to pull back a bit here. Wow, these guys are so split. J-Kiki and Knight are so far away from the rest of their team, and look at this. The Camouflage Condoms are actually moving back. Stupid shit. Looks like he's just going to bleed out in the middle of the field. Crimson making sure there is no chance in hell he'll get revived. But the multiple angles there potentially working to advantage of Team 3. As Seriously Why, at least for now, get left alone because the Camouflage Condoms don't know all of the angles they could be playing with here. Trips with some seriously long-range SLR shots onto the top of the hill there. So Team 5 have spotted what is going on and that there is a team occupying the top. What they don't know is that it's not PP Team. In the last game, PP Team were the second last team to survive, I believe. Going down eventually, of course, to the winners. But, wow, the Graza's been left inside the care package. Controversial. So being used as a backup weapon there, perhaps, for the Potato Club, and they've definitely looted it because the level 3 gear is out from under it, so quite clearly, simply none of them fancy it. So they are defending the top of this mountain now, And you can see the flag. I think, by the way, Dan, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the flag inside the circle is where the circle will eventually collapse to if there are multiple teams still alive at the end. Which means that Team 9, the randoms here, could actually occupy the low ground, if you like, and try and play the long game. That's, of course, if everyone survives that long. A couple of shots, but nothing too major. Ringing out. We can see Frosty there taking some shots at Team 9. It's a lot of damage getting done, and ASICS is going to be going down there. That's 3 different guns contributing to that down, which Cleve D will be taking credit for. Great headshot onto Cleve, forcing him to immediately heal up. That helmet has certainly seen better days as 89 damage goes straight onto his dome. Aspect looking to return the favor, but there's not so much peeking going on now. TJ23 off to the left side of your screen was sneaking off for a flank, but this is going to have to be a mad wide flank for it to be effective. And don't forget, these guys are on top of a mountain, and this game is in third person. It's going to be very tricky to sneak up on them sideways. Elsewhere, Jonesy with the silent scout VSS still looking for opportunities to try and sneak in a kill here and there. Him and Max Reynolds combined are looking to take out random. Scuba Steve goes down to the VSS, and that's from a very, very long way away indeed. Jonesy moving further in. He's not looking to rush close range. He just wants to help kill whoever's attempting to revive and try and pick off another kill. The tree obscures a little bit of his vision. Oh no. It's going from bad to worse for the randoms right now. It almost feels like they're just getting shot from every which angle. TJ gets taken down from on top of the mountain. Quite literally king of the hill in this case. And unfortunately, they're getting hit from behind by Jonesy and Max Reynolds. So everyone seems to be able to get them right now. It's not ideal. Scuba Steve is back on his feet, but in desperate need of a heal. Sparta seems like he's left alive, but it's just the 2 of them now. And they've got teammate coming up behind them. Their day is not going to get any easier. Here comes PUBG, who are basically heading straight up the side of the hill that their opponents of Team Random are on. And when they get up there, this is not going to be pretty. Now, there is a chance for a 2v4 squad wipe. They are there first. They have got the elements of surprise. They have the advantage of being able to set up beforehand and try and flick onto the second person and catch them by surprise so that each one of their squad mates can get multiple kills. But they have to do this really well. Teammate now collapsing onto them. Random's going to be hearing them very shortly. Scuba Steve goes down once again. This is not the fairy tale ending they were looking for. Sparta tries to go for the downs, but he isn't able to. Too many guns pointed at him. And team number 9, the randoms, are eliminated from game number 2 here of the PUBG Reddit end of season custom games. Well, tournament, technically. The King of the Hill tournament format, of course, throwing up some really interesting strategic positions. There is only one blue zone, and we should be able to comfortably see the blue zone by now. If we take a look at the map really quickly, you can see that it's slowly moving in. There you go. So everyone is going to have to start moving in there because the blue zone is instant death. You cannot go out into the blue zone. You will die instantly if you move into the blue. That is the danger here. That is Drive Like Dan going up against the EU talent on the south side of the mountain. And Potato Club upstairs probably just wondering what on earth all of this is going on about. Potentially Nice Nate nearly getting into the vicinity of Grim. Avengers Army and Wacko Taco, though, can't quite find the angle that would be able to put him away, and Fury has a good angle to help support. Grim needs to move away. Avengers can definitely see him from up there, and that is it with the G36. Great angle there. He will be able to finish him off as well, but he hangs around too long, gloating, and Sergeant DMA takes him out from downtown. Wacko Taco should probably go into support. Grim is very, very close to dying. Wacko Taco should be able to revive. I think a quick revive from Team 5, followed by moving down and trying to take out Sergeant DMA is probably the best position they can be in right now. Clover and Triffs are unfortunately too low to do much. But just as I say that, the double kill from Triffs. Never mind, a great grenade from downtown Aspect. Third partying this, and he will perform the headshot onto Wacko Taco. So Avengers Army now going to be doing the reviving. More and more bullets going down everywhere. Triffs gets taken down by Sergeant DMA. That was brutal with the Vector. So quick with the DPS there, but he is unable to save Fury. And Sergeant DMA once again, he is the last man standing for his team. I'm noticing this as a pattern now. Such a strong team, but so difficult when you run into someone else on these rotations. Absolute oof coming out for the EU talent here, but Drive Like Dan are doing a great job of zoning them out, it has to be said. Sergeant DMA using third person. And using that position he's got just to constantly... Oh my god, that grenade was sick. Wacko Taco needs to heal straight away. I don't know if Sergeant DMA realizes just how good that was, but a second one could technically finish them off. It looks like he was only chucking the one at them by the looks of things. And now he's got to be worried about flanks from further up as well. He has to be thinking about moving soon. The rest of Team 5 are looking like they're moving out. Avengers Army staying by the pass in case Sergeant DMA wants to pop out. He gets tagged. He needs to use the third person look more and just occupy a position. And of course, if they get into the circle, the Potato Club are waiting for them as well. So Sergeant DMA now starting with his rotation, opting to abandon that fight, which I think is a good idea. He needs to survive as long as possible to get his team as many points as he can for those final standings. Aspect, oh dear, Avengers has no idea that he is easily within the crosshairs of Aspect. He just hasn't stood still long enough for the clean shot to come off. Very tense times here for Drive Like Dan, but they don't even realize it. One shot silence, and not 100% sure they'd necessarily know it was coming from on top, but they certainly do now. Wacko Taco gets his dome shot right off from Aspect. Absolute kathunk, and Avengers Army is definitely on nurse duty right here. He seems to be picking everyone and their dog up at the moment, but they continue to survive with 3 members as Triffs was lost early on. Sergeant DMA with that brutal vector spray meant that he was not going to survive in this game much longer. Speaking of him, he is down in the southeast, but he's not the only team moving in there. We have the Tall Karma Monkeys moving up towards where he is, and a lot of people moving through these, I almost want to call them alleyways, but sort of like channels on the side of the mountain en route to getting up to the top. We have team number 4, the Camouflage Condoms, the winners of game number 1. In the north side as well. Right next to them, though, are PUBG, and of course on the east side, we have Tall Karma Monkeys. And overseeing all of this are the Potato Club, who are on top of the mountain without a care in the world right now, except, oh my god, there are literally guns going off in all 360 degrees. That's right, all 360 of them. I've counted, so you don't have to. You can trust me. Ooh, Cleve, I would say, a little bit unfortunate not to at least get one bullet hit there on that aim. But I will be able to start spotting those teams that are trying to run in. That's Jay Kiki, the last surviving member of Seriously Why. And unfortunately, that's also going to be the response to trying to get them to get into the circle, because they'll be asking themselves seriously why quite a number of times as they attempt to get in and potentially get blocked at every opportunity. They have to go through about 3 different squads before they get safe. 2 minutes left to go for phase 1. Circle still continuing to close. Avengers Army goes down, but that is traded out because Frosty goes down by a headshot to Wacko Taco. An excellent Molotov, actually. Might see Wacko Taco go down as well. It does indeed, and Cleve, what a beautiful grenade. This now leaves Clover to come in and try and mop up. Wacko Taco gone down. He was downed and now also out, but Clover getting targeted from another angle. That's not good. 2 shots hitting. 1 more is going to take out Drive Like Dan, and that is Sergeant DMA coming back for revenge. Team EU Talent strike back almost from the grave as the last surviving member eliminate Drive Like Dan. In the meantime, oh dear, that is team number 6 eliminated. So Drive Like Dan also getting completely destroyed by Camouflage Condoms. Now, they have actually taken Jonesy down, but he will be able to get revived, meaning that last game's winners will still be able to carry all 4 members into the circle if they survive it that far. 1 minute left to go before the circle completely shrinks, and 6 teams and 16 people all have to be within this circle trying to get this mountain location. Jay Kiki looks like they're trying to move on up. Team number 8, while we were talking about that, PUBG, really being aggressive and taking the top of the mountain right now, forcing Potato Club slightly back. It looks like we have a little bit of a new king of the hill. And Potato Club, wow, they're a little bit split up and just forcing to take passive positions, as it looks like PUBG are now officially kings of the mountain. Martin will get taken down. A beautiful headshot there from Crimson, and Max Reynolds continues the carnage, but that's on a different team. He takes down both Confuzzled and Pac-Man. So they're fighting 2 different teams at once right now, and they have to be a little careful of their position. Riga and Max Reynolds, both trading, actually. So many teams in such a small space. Team 8 have actually got the height advantage. And Sergeant DNA sneaking in with the finishing kill onto Regna. Beautiful stuff here, I have to say, from EU Talent. Playing this very, very strategically, but he is not going to be able to avoid taking on these teams closer to the top. I think that grenade might fall a little bit short. It does indeed, but it definitely sends a... Wow! I swear that fell short, but Dragon Girth says absolutely no. And Max Reynolds goes down in addition to Crimson in one fell swoop. Doing an incredible job there for the Tall Karma Monkeys. He hasn't really got much of a choice as well. Now, in 5 minutes, by the way, this circle is going to reduce further to where that flag is, and it will reduce over the course of 2 minutes. So these guys can stay where they are for now, but the anti-camping mechanic means that in 5 minutes' time, in between Squad 4 and Squad 1, that's where the circle is going to reduce to. And remember, this is King of the Hill. Getting into the blue zone, getting outside of the circle is instant death. The only exceptions to that rule were those birds that you were seeing flying on the left-hand side of your screen. Because if flying into the blue zone was instant death, this would make for an incredibly sad wildlife documentary. Massive Molotov from downtown coming in. Dragon Girth trying to Kobe it onto Jonesy. And I have to say, he's getting reasonably close. That is properly red zoning it up. That is no fewer than 4 Molotovs getting chucked his way. But Team 4 actually have other concerns. They're trying to take the top of the mountain by the looks of things. And their grenades are going towards PUBG. Dragon Girth popping a lot of smokes. Max Reynolds looking to flank to try and stop him from getting into a better position. Oh, and if he comes out on the side of this now on the edge of the circle, he will be able to spot him. I think Max Reynolds has spotted Dragon behind that rock. And he's able to radio that to the rest of his team. Even just that knowledge is useful because they know that they're not at least being pushed from behind. That knowledge alone is extremely useful for him. And Dragon has no idea Max Reynolds is. He's not even looking in that direction. And Max Reynolds is able to peer around the tree. Sovatosic out now as well, but there are still other teams and other players available. He wasn't the last player on his team either. That was from team number 8, PUBG, who still have 2 people on top of the mountain. Aspect, I believe, still surviving for Potato Club, but he is the sole surviving member, and he was forced to move down the side. So that's an awkward position for BM. He kind of just wants to stay quiet now, almost until the last circle starts collapsing. You can see there just holding the angle, being very, very patient. Yes, he's close to several people. Sergeant DMA has the same idea. Not even going to be a problem. Raider going down, though, might actually trigger a little bit of a push from squad number 4 because the camouflage condoms still have 3 people alive, and they know that squad 8 are the team on top of the mountain. They don't actually have to push, though, because as the circle continues to constrict after this zone, they're the squad that's closest to where it's going to end up, to be perfectly honest, so they don't actually need to do this right now. There are 5 teams left with 8 people alive, and Team 4 know that they are 3 of them. They must have an inkling that they are in prime position to take game number 2. There are 2 people left from Squad 8. That's PUBG, who are on top of the mountain. There is 1 player left from EU Talent, which is Sergeant DMA for the 2nd game in a row. There is 1 player left, I believe, from Potato Club as well, which is Aspect. So all to play for, and then hiding out on the left-hand side, being nice and sneaky, is Seriously Why, Jay Kiki, who were the first team out, by the way, in game number 1, but are doing tremendously well in comparison here in game number 2. Still no action, but the circle will see that there will be action very shortly indeed. I love how active Team 4 are being. Camouflage condoms want to know that absolutely everyone from any angle is known to them before they start collapsing in. Nice little sneaky headshot up. Getting a good headshot onto Martin, but not quite getting the down, and Jonesy is going to actually end up having to heal himself. I think he got tapped in the noggin. With that level 3 helmet, though, it's going to hurt a bit less, but of course you want as much utility out of your helmets and armor as possible, so you'll want to avoid that happening too often. Jonesy has bagsied himself a Mark 14 in addition to the M4. So an incredible amount of tastiness in his inventory right now. But not getting hit by bullets is a completely different skill to losing what you can possibly get here. And Martin disappears behind a ridgeline with 73 health left on him. But I want to know what their plan is, because they've moved across to the west side of the circle. And in 30 seconds, the circle is going to start collapsing towards that flag, which is very much on the east side. Aspect and Sergeant DMA could end up getting a little bit of a duel. Both of these players now down to solos. The rest of their team wiped out. Sergeant DMA so lethal with that Vector, but Aspect showing really good game sense, backing down when his team lost the fight on top and staying alive for this long. He'll have a trick or two up his sleeve as well, even though people are so close to where he's currently standing. Does Raider even know he's there? He does not. Now, those grenades being chucked up right now are actually from Camouflage Condoms. Aspect, though, getting Martin. He had to. Probably spotting that he was there. Sergeant DMA finishing off Raider. So that is actually PUBG out of the game right now. And the two solo players combining their efforts to make sure that that is done. Aspect must know that Sergeant DMA is here. The circle is very slowly moving around. He can't afford to be in the blue. He dies instantly. And there we go. Sergeant DMA, an unfortunate victim there of the blue zone. You cannot afford to be in the blue. It is instant death. This is the King of the Hill game mode. You cannot heal up outside the circle. There is no time for you to do so. You just drop to the floor straight away. Aspect versus Dario on the right-hand side. Gets Dario down. Jonesy coming in over the top. He's got the high ground advantage. Is Aspect going to heal first? Jonesy continuing, wow, to move almost towards the edge of the circle, but Aspect certainly has heard those footsteps moving. Max Reynolds coming in from the other side, though, and that's going to provide an awful lot of cover. The 2v1 is a fight that Aspect is very not likely to win. Jonesy now choosing to run back, knowing that the circle will end up doing his job for him. Aspect slowly moving forward, but he has to run into the path of Max Reynolds. He hasn't got much of a chance. Grabs the gun out, he catches Max Reynolds, he blindsides him, and suddenly no, he doesn't need to, he almost gets into the circle. He just about manages to avoid it, and Jonesy with the ridiculous play off the top rope lands on top of Aspect for the winner chicken dinner. That's the Camouflage Condoms taking home the 10-kill chicken dinner in game number 2. That is absolutely fantastic stuff. We'll be adding their scores to the scoreboard, and you will get to see that before the start of game 3. So in first place, we have the Camouflage Condoms. That's Max Reynolds, Jonesy, Crimson, and Dario with a combined 10 kills between them. Congratulations as well to second place. We have Aspect, Frosty, Cleve, and Lazio, who do manage 7 kills. And then in third place, surviving from the start of the game with a solitary kill, but an excellent position, is Jay Kiki, Knight, and Stupid Shit.